Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and welcome on stage these beautiful ladies, Naomi Ewart-Simcock, Senior Account Manager, Marketing Analyst, ActivTrades, and Opal Yang, CEO, New Direction Solution, in a far-sided chat post-pandemic, market sentiment shifts, CFD trading volume, increment stays.
Hello. Hello, everyone. It's not very busy here. I'm very pleased to be here today to discuss the trading volumes and the market sentiment before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and after the pandemic, together with Opal Yang, the CEO of New Direction Solutions. And there will be questions in the end. So let's start.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Opal Yang. I am from a company called New Direction Solution. We specialize for Chinese investors invest in international financial institutions. So we act as a bridge, so connecting both sides, and we also provide regulation and fund safety advice. We also work as a regulatory advisor. If a Chinese company would like to enter the market, we assist for them to obtain the relevant license. Yeah. I think today's topic is, it's very interesting for me. I especially would like to hear from Naomi about this pandemic period of time, before it and after it, and how it affects our industry. Naomi, can you share with us?
Okay, first of all, let's have a look. Let's have a look at this slide. Okay, that's right. Okay, so this is a Google trend. So you can see the number of searching FX trading, the number of the searches had peaked around 2018 to 2019. And then quickly declined and largely remained the same. So why so? And I'm going to show you another slide. So this chart is from BIS. It's short for Banks of International Survey. And it shows the volume, the trading volume of our sector increased from $6.6 trillion per day to $7.5 trillion per day in a matter of 3 years. So how so? So the number of searches are coming down, but the trading volume increased by 15%. So why so? One can hardly say there's a direct link between the pandemic and the trading volume and our business, but one cannot. But from my point of view, I think that's definitely the reason behind it. Firstly, we had a pandemic, then we had lockdown, then we had QE, then we had lockdown lifted, then we had QT. So it feels like FX and the CFD trading is a safe trade. It's a safe sector for the traders to come to. I know Opal would have different ideas for my theory.
I'm actually a bit surprised about the brokers experience the positive impact from pandemic. Well, I mean, in a way, it seems to be reasonable. But for me, myself, because I'm more like a first-hand directly contact with the clients, I feel like it's pandemic, especially right now, China is still having zero COVID policy. Some cities still having lockdown. I think probably not direct from pandemic, but because of the lockdown, people rely on internet so much. People do everything online. And I actually get, because my company deal with a lot of complaints and asking for help, all sort of things. I found like a recent year, we got a lot of complaints and trying to ask us to help in terms of financial crimes. I think it's directly caused by the lockdown. People can't go out. So these, scammers use this period of time people don't see each other. Recently having been dealing with a lot of financial scams and Ponzi schemes, and most recently one is romance scams. I don't know if you guys ever heard or ever know this online dating software. Like you go to meet romance, and like after a while they start talking to you about crypto or NT4, NT5. And I found now, after all this story being spread and people more aware with that, I personally found it's even more difficult than before to try to get the clients to deposit, even to the regulated brokers. That's my first-hand experience. So that's why I'm quite surprised, a broker's business actually went up during this period of time.
So the only thing I can think is most of the clients knows what they're doing. So once they choose to trade with one broker, so they tend to stay with the broker as long as the broker is fair and sound, almost forever. So I don't think the existing, the pandemic affected the existing business. Almost feel it has a positive impact to our business. So
I see that, but I think recently having been a lot of events that will affect Forex and CFD business, do you have anything to share with us? Like the recent events, I could see that.
Oh yes, negative of
impact.
Course. Well, the only thing I can think of is the Apple Store redraw the MetaTrader 4 and the MetaTrader 5 apps from the Apple Store. I think that's the only negative impact at the moment. Nothing the comparison.
Does that
with,
actually affect the business? The clients
it
can't
brought,
use Apple.
Yeah, exactly. It brought inconvenience, but the traders can use,
you can use
web.
Yeah.
So, and also it will be expense for our brokers to purchase a new software from MetaQuotes. But nothing is comparison with the regulatory change in 2018. And then back to this slide. It's a Google trend, and you can see there's a peak of searches around 2018 to 2019 that everyone tried to find a broker with a higher leverage offered. Yeah. Hope you have something.
Maybe we remind people who might not familiar here, or probably here are all industry professionals. You probably familiar, probably you forget. 2018 is when FCA and the MiFID reduced leverage towards the retail clients with all these restrictions in ways to protect the retail clients. My business actually have a big shift, some in a good way, some in the bad ways, because my company also deal with the license. We get a lot of inquiries and a lot of dealing with offshore license. No matter you are FCA broker or ASIC or any other regulators, as well as the newcomers, they all want offshore license. So offshore license, I found 2017 to 2019, I would say that part of business in my company is actually flying off. But on the other hand, my business I have bring the retail clients to the FCA brokers. They all withdraw where else because they are used to trade in 1 to 100 plus leverage, isn't it?
400 to 1. 500 to 1.
Some
1,000
like
to 1.
a lot of more risk taking. But I recently found out from all that happened, maybe people move from FCA brokers to offshore. But recently, because of all these financial scams and people are more aware of fund safety, so I see that a lot more, especially in my end of the clients, there are especially more like high net worth clients. They would do sacrifice a bit in the leverage, and they would rather have their funds in FCA regulated brokers.
So basically, the FCA licensed the brokers stayed where they are, and I was worried that FCA regulated brokers would lose business to the offshore brokers, but it doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
I found the clients come back, especially more educated clients. The clients do their due diligence, their own search. They found out that, the most importantly is not the leverage, how you can trade. It's really the fund safety. So I see a lot more when we promote in this market. People will ask directly, is this company FCA regulated? FCA more like a brand now rather than just a regulator when I first hand promoted.
Oh,
to
yes,
the
Opal.
clients.
I know you are dealing with a few cases, rather interesting. Do you like to share with us?
Right, yeah. So my company also deal with clients' complaints as well as compensation claims. And in 2019, we have a case that SVS Securities went down. And I think all of
Oh,
you...
you mean SVS Securities?
Yeah, SVS Securities. They went bankrupt, and so I had some business in the UK side, but I also know a lot of different clients, in particular Chinese clients. They have been resigned again after 2018. They've been resigned again to their offshore, I believe it was Vanuatu license. And after 2019, when SVS Security went bankrupt, I have been helping. I was in the creditor committee, and we actually get all the clients compensate. Obviously, all the retail clients, including elected professional clients, they are all compensated by FCA. It took some time, around 2.5 years.
Oh, yes, I remember that. Because of the pandemic and everything was delayed. But slowly, steadily, it has been done.
Yeah, but their offshore entity, at first, they guarantee the people can still withdraw. After they sold the ownership to another Dubai company. But however, after they sold the offshore to another company, after a few months, the company went down. And the offshore clients don't get any compensate. So the events like this, there are numbers I can think of. It's also show the clients first-hand information that only FCA regulated brokers, your fund will be protected.
Keep its promise.
Yes, and because I was in the creditor committee, I could, have a meeting directly with the FSCS. His name is Guy, and he's in the committee. Every time when they mention, for example, the liquidator has to get paid and etc., they actually say, oh yeah, this is from our end. This is from our end. So they are very efficient, and efficient. Some will argue because. After all, the clients get the fund like 2.5 years later. But in the back of that, they did a lot of work. So after all this experience, and I also deal with the clients under different regulators, for example, ASIC, for example, Cyprus. Some of you here might know. The company I used to work for stopped paying the clients, and we've been in a lawsuit, and it's still going on. It has been 7-8 years. That case was Cyprus, and I'm also dealing with one company, USG FX, and in
The
ASIC,
the Australian broker.
And at the moment, the report showed that they stole 500 million plus money from the clients, and
500 million.
yes, and things like that. The regulator wouldn't compensate. Even the help they get was quite minimum.
Do you know where the money went?
Well, I don't know if
500 million.
it's in here. I talk about the story, but apparently there's a fraudulent ID to actually set up the whole broker. So they couldn't find the guy still. However, you kind of, well, right now it's under investigation, so I don't know.
Right. Another bad actor.
Yeah, so those bad apples in the market does affect the whole CFD Forex industry as a whole. But I found that in this situation, educate the client is another way. So I do have the consultancy company. I have another business as a YouTube channel. My job in this side of business is due to educate the clients, to teach them to actually how to do the search, actually teach them how to go to the company house, for example, to read the balance sheets as well, to see if your brokers are financially healthy, and to see if they are signed up under the regulator they mentioned. So to do all these checks, you can't be lazy when you do the investment. So that's in another side. Apart from select the brokers for them, I also want to educate the clients to know the market overall.
Yes, that's absolutely making sense. I just strengthened my theory that the pandemic almost forced people to do their own research. And the UK-based companies are more transparent and sound, and the big goes even bigger. Okay, let's look at this slide. I would like to talk about the trading habit shifted. In my opinion, it shifted a little bit. Okay, we can see before 2020 and 2019, the spot, FX spot, kind of reduced a little bit up now, and FX swaps increased a little up now. Why so? I can't help thinking the carry trade is coming back because the US rates are hiking. And, but if it's so, the carry trade will last years, if not decades. So I think that's a rather good opportunity for traders to think about. And also, I can see outright forwards stay the same. That's probably due to the entire financial market during the pandemic had a good run. Like indices, like forward of indices, seems much more safer bet for most traders. And also a trader that doesn't need to pay a swap overnight. So that might be something to look into. What do you think?
Well, in terms of trading
yes.
totally
yes,
not.
I know you are dealing
that.
with the.
I do a bit, but well, in.
No. You're dealing with the retail traders, directly.
Right.
So are they adapt this kind of trading strategy?
The traders talk about carry trades as well. Like I have been having some meetings with some traders. So I just heard like correspond with your thoughts. So that might be some, but definitely market has more opportunities as well as the war and all these things happening?
Yes,
Because
I felt a trend seems forming. Before the pandemic, the market looks like everywhere, goes everywhere. But now it seems a clear trend forming, and the traders can take full advantage of that, in my opinion.
well, would that safe to say right now it's
The trend is your friend. It might be true, but
well, is that safe to say that we'd rather look into fundamental more than technical?
yes, this is what I try to say. It looks like the traders think about more of a fundamental analysis rather than technical analysis.
Well, I don't
In
know
my
if
opinion.
people here agreed.
Maybe not.
So, is there anything in this current phenomenon you see will affect the markets, or any worries, or any outlook from the broker's point of view?
Well, I don't think so, except the Ukrainian-Russian war affect the meta quotes, the softwares. But otherwise, I think the industry is going concern. Yeah.
I do have worries about the next black swan.
Fire away.
Well, as a Taiwanese originating myself, and funny enough, Naomi is originally from China. So what we worry the most now is to have China invade Taiwan.
No, I don't think so.
So I think that's something if that do happen, that was something, the coming year will affect the markets most.
Look at the war front now. Okay, no one is winning, right? So anyone initiated the war, or warmongerings, will down to the history rubbish bin.
Hope so. I sincerely hope so. I'm going to Taiwan tomorrow. So really hope so.
Yeah, so our talk is sweet and short. So any questions? No questions. No questions?
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry. Thank you for that talk. But can you see any factors that will see increases in volume over the coming years, like medium term?
Yes, of course. In general, our market is widening over the years, except 2013 to 2016. That seems gone down the hill a little bit. But in general, it goes up, and I think it will you follow the nice little trend, and almost 45 degree, and then goes up, and almost like the pandemic has been forgotten. Only the positive effect left, in my opinion.
We are talking about at the time when China is locked down, so people have nothing to do apart from trading.
Yes, that's another opportunity. If we see what happened in 2 years, now it's happening in China. So get ready. Oh yes, there's another slide I would like to show you guys. So this maybe difficult to see. So the Chinese renminbi, the Chinese currency, jumped from number 8th to number 5th. Most traded currency. So is there a direct link with the pandemic and the market? No one can say, but one cannot help thinking there might be a direct link in between. So the fact is that Chinese renminbi become the 5th most traded currency, interestingly.
Well, I didn't know that before.
Provided it's actually not free changeable currency.
It's already
it's not free changeable currency. It's very much controlled by central government. Provided China is the second biggest economy in the world, so it's strange. But that's all.
So if search volumes are falling and China's still in a lot of lockdown, do you think that, what we're going to end up with when the lockdown lifts in China, we're going to get an even big fall in search volumes, because actually it's being artificially inflated by China still being in lockdown where a lot of other countries are not.
Google cannot be accessed in China. So the Google trend, the information from China is very opaque. So anyone can use imagination how people search the foreign brokers from China. But we do get lots of business from China. So we just doesn't make sense. But because the population in China is such big, so number of the traders hasn't really gone down. So the only reason I can think of. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
But hopefully, hopefully the information will be more transparent in the future in China. But I'm not too positive about it.
But didn't we also see that in the West that after the lockdown had been lifted, but the volume stays, isn't it?
Yes, the volume increased, but number of searches largely stay the same from my first slide. Yeah, look. So the only thing I can think of is the trader knows what they're doing. So it might be a time to return safe trading, which is a CFD market.
Any more questions?
In my opinion. All right, okay, I think the time is up. All right, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.